Welcome back to a mostly Mopar family. My name is Kelsey, and today we're going to save a 1968 Coronet RT. It is really, really rough and very incomplete. It's in Carthage, Missouri. I was here just a month ago to pick up a 1969 Roadrunner, and I also bought this really rough partial shell, but I didn't have the space or the time to pick it up then. It's been about a month, and we're coming back to pick this hunk of junk up. It's got some front suspension underneath it, but I'm sure the drums are locked up. It does not have a rear end at all, no leaf springs, so it's going to be a chore to dig out. But it's pretty cool. It's originally a 4-speed car in F8, or the dark green metallic. It doesn't have a fender tag, but the dash frame with the VIN tag surfaced recently. He had apparently sold the dash frame to someone else who bought a bunch of parts, and I was able to make a deal to buy the dash frame to reunite the dash frame and VIN tag with the car. This 1968 Coronet RT has just been sitting here for years and years. The dash frame was misplaced when I first came to look at it, and I was told there was no dash frame, but it turns out someone else who came here sooner before me bought the dash frame, and when they found out I bought it, they offered to sell me the dash frame with the VIN tag. So I took them up on the offer, and now we've got a car that might actually be able to return to the road. When I showed up to pick up this 1968 Coronet RT, the seller had a huge surprise for me. In the month while he'd been cleaning up since I'd last been there, they came across the original fender tag. So now I've got a VIN plate, I've got the original fender tag, I'm going to get a title for this thing, but having all three of those things makes this car way more valuable. This old girl's pretty beat up, not terrible. This left quarter panel, pretty dented. Lower quarter panel, got some rust. Rear bumper and tail panel are in decent shape. The deck lid does have a nasty little rust bubble right there. Right quarter panel, again, some more dents. Lower quarter, a little rust. The rocker on the right side is really in pretty good shape. We're gonna have to cut this little stump out. Front frame rails look pretty good. This thing was originally a 4-speed car. The left front frame rail is also pretty good. A-pillar looks pretty solid. And that door looks fairly straight. This rocker also looks pretty decent. Obviously a little rust there where the quarter panel meets the rocker, but not bad for what it's been through. I really wasn't looking forward to getting this car moved off the cinder blocks and onto my trailer. So on the way there, I called a couple local towing companies and asked them if they would pick this car up and put it on my trailer. I actually found a company that said they would do it for 75 bucks, which was a bargain. I quickly took them up on it and said, come on over. It was hands down the best $75 I spent that day. It only took him about 20 minutes to get it on his flatbed. Then he drove over to my trailer, and we winched it from his flatbed onto my trailer. It worked really well. This is the fender tag for the Coronet RT. 8.3 denotes the 440 engine. This also had a heavy-duty 4-speed 833 manual transmission, and the 6.8 under axle denotes that it should have been a 354 or 355 ratio high-performance axle. It should have been a Dana 60 since it was with a 4-speed transmission. It also had a tachometer, and other than that was fairly bare bones. Well, I bought this thing without any wheels or a rear end housing, so I got on Craigslist and was lucky enough to find a B-body rear end housing and 2 rear wheels for $100. Went and picked them up and installed them to make this thing roll. Now that I've got a better vantage point, I want to show you just how solid this thing is underneath. This torsion bar cross member also in excellent shape. This passenger side rocker also super solid. Looks like it could maybe use a little patch there where the 2 pieces of sheet metal overlap, but man, for where it sat, that's nothing to complain about. The driver's side quarter panel, really not bad. Lower quarter panel is going to need patched for sure. This is the passenger side rear frame rail from the outside, and the leaf spring mount, which is in excellent condition. I'm still quite surprised on this one, but the passenger side rear frame rail and the driver's side are in excellent shape considering they were sitting so close to dirt and to weeds. But that frame rail and mount are excellent all the way back to the rear cross member. The center of the trunk floor was cut out. Obviously it's going to need new trunk floors completely and probably a pair of drop-offs. The driver's side rear frame rail, also great, all the way to the rear cross member. This is the driver's side rear frame rail from the outside. Even the leaf spring mount is in great shape. The driver's side torsion bar cross member is in excellent shape, even between the rocker and that front frame rail. The driver's side rocker, as you can see, super solid, excellent shape. This driver's side fender is not original to the car, but it is really straight. The leading edge also pretty unmolested. The driver's side front frame rail, as solid as they come, and so is the passenger side front frame rail. Really straight and solid. The inner fenders and front frame rails are in excellent shape. The firewall has not been cut in any way. It's completely unmolested. The driver's side inner fender also in good shape. And the frame rails, again, both of them, excellent. Power steering, manual brakes, 2-speed wiper, no air conditioning. The rear seat is still there. However, there's no broadcast sheet. I didn't expect one from a car that sat outside this long. The driver's side floor pan obviously has some holes. These pans need replaced, but the console brackets are there. The 4-speed hump is there. Column is there. Heater box looks good. And another floor pan that obviously needs replaced, but I've seen much worse. One of the coolest finds was this 1968 Coronet bulge hood. It has some repairs done to it. You can see someone had put some hood pins in it, but it's in bare metal, and yeah, it's got a lot of dings, but it's not all just eaten with rust. So overall, I'm really happy with it. Even the backside is really in good shape, and it's been stripped, so I can see exactly what condition it's in. That leading edge is prone to hold some mice nests and be corroded and rusted out. This one, really solid. And I'm just pleased in general. When I got the car, I did not get a title, so I've spent the last several months going through the title process, which involved a VIN inspection by the Kansas State Highway Patrol. It went well. It just took a while to get the title back in the mail, and at that point I was finally ready to drag it back to my house, get it cleaned up, and get it ready to sell. I'm actually going to really miss looking at this car all the time. It spent the last 6 months hanging out with this 69 Roadrunner and this 70 Coronet Super BEE, and I get a lot of enjoyment just from looking at these cars every time I'm out at the farm. I really wish I could keep all of them, but that just isn't possible. Oh well. The dark green metallic paint on this 68 Coronet RT was really rough and really oxidized. I spent about an hour and a half giving it just a rough polish to make it shine. I'm not looking for anything perfect in any way, but at least the interested parties that look at it can see reflections and dents more easily. Normally, I outsource my polishing, but my normal detail guy was moving, so he couldn't do this one. Finally, I dropped this Dodge Coronet off the Insurance Auto Auction branch in Wichita, Kansas. It'll see the auction block in just a few weeks, so keep your eyes open for it.